one more thing about what it's like to be on set. Everybody has their very specific job, and there's also a whole different language on set. There's all this vocabulary that you would never know if you hadn't been on set. And as an actor, the first few times I was on set, I had no idea what anything was, and I was trying to pretend that I did. And at one point, you saw the tape on the floor is called a mark, and that's where you stand for the focus puller to know how to keep you in focus. And I was shooting Charmed with Alyssa Milano, and the director was like, you weren't even close to your mark. And I had no idea what a mark was. And I thought he was just like talking about my performance generally. And I was like, okay, I'll try to do better. And then, which by the way, would be terrible direction to give an actor, because all it does is send them into a spiral of despair. So we did it again, and I was even further away from my mark the next time, because I didn't know what he was talking about. Nobody tells you. Or maybe somebody did tell me, but I never heard it. Yeah, I'm sure it's like that in other industries as well. Like you step into a job and there's all of this vernacular. What? Yes, it is?
Yes.
Do some of you have jobs? You're here, yes. That doesn't mean you have a job. You could have a trust fund and be here. No, no. You could be a bank robber and be here. Yeah. I guess that's kind of a job, though. Do you guys want to ask any questions? Desperately. Thank God that's over. Hi.
Hello.
Tell me your questions.
Okay, so if you could live in any alternate universe, movie, show, or book, which alternate universe would you want to live in?
Any alternate universe, movie, show, or book? I think I would probably choose The Apprentice, because that would be a world in which Donald Trump is still just on a TV show. That would be my choice. What about you? What would you choose?
I don't know. I'd probably choose...
It's not easy, is it?
Probably Harry Potter.
Oh, really? Good choice.
Thank you.
Very good choice. I think, yeah, excellent choice.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Thank you.
Now I'm thinking I should have said something like pornography or something. Anyway, I'll mull it over. Hi.
Hi. Misha, I'm really nervous to ask this, and it's not necessarily because of you, it's because of someone you work with, and I have to know, what is it like working with Stans?
Stans, the shirts? It's an incredibly painful process. Stans, I thought you were saying stand, like I stand for someone, like that. Which I was very proud of myself. I just learned that term, and I felt like I had my finger on the pulse for a second, and I was so excited. It turns out I was actually just misunderstanding. Stans, no, I mean, it's been a lengthy collaboration with Stans, and I have slogged through a lot of it. It's run by a true monster. Is Michelle in here? Oh, damn, the joke is ruined then. I thought she was here. I love it. I mean, I actually am sort of proud to be a part of it because Stans has like donated or raised more than $1 million for charities in the last couple of years, which is pretty awesome. I like those sort of things. I like schemes that are designed to extract money from people and give it to charity. So I'm pro. That's my stand on stands. Pro. I stand stands.
Great, you're so hip.
See what I just did? Hi.
Hi. I was wondering, what do you think Cass's true form is?
Well, we know that he's very well endowed. He's as tall as the Chrysler Building, right?
Yeah.
And he has a very commanding voice that causes windows to explode. We've never really gotten to see an angel, have we?
Yeah, we did. Last episode. The first episode. Kind of saw it a little.
I don't remember. It was in the premiere. We just saw it, like
Yeah.
literally a few.
Sort of.
In the premiere?
Yeah, it was
I must
Michael.
have fallen asleep. I literally don't remember that. Oh, it's just like a shadow, kind of?
Yeah, it was like him.
Oh, right. Okay. But he wasn't that tall. So Cass is just a tall angel. Unusually tall. Yeah, or exaggerating. That may be the case. Okay. Thanks. Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Raquel. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I hope you get some sleep someday.
Thank you.
You kind of avoided this question in Denver, so I wanted to know if
Great.
you. Yes. So I'm here now.
Thanks.
Have you ever like read any scenes between Dean and Cass and then thought that fans were gonna be like really excited about it?
What are you alluding to?
I'm just asking. I want to know what you think.
No, I'm just asking what you asking.
I'm just asking.
Do you, I mean, do you mean like, fans are gonna think this is like super gay and they're gonna love that?
I'm asking you.
Is that what you're, okay, that is what you're saying. Okay.
I'm asking.
By omission, I know what you're saying.
I'm asking if mean excited as in sure that, whatever, wherever you're gonna take it, you know.
Oh, now you're turning it around on me. You're like, oh, you get your mind out of the gutter, you dirty boy. Yes, is the answer. And actually, I think there have been a few times where it's been like, I think this might be taking it a little too far. Oh no, there is such a thing. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I'm just laughing because, hey, what? This is not Destiel per se, but it was it was a dog pile. So I think it was last episode, or maybe it was the episode before. I think it was last episode when we were shooting. Poor Jack, he's fallen ill. He's not doing well, and he literally had 3 scenes where he fell to the ground in a fainting spell. And unfortunately for him, in those scenes, Jared Jensen and myself were also present. So every time he would hit the floor, we would pile on top of him and then do like thrusting motions. And there's a tremendous amount of footage, because the cameras were rolling, of us just crushing the life out of poor Alex. And in the final scene, when, you know, so we did 2 scenes like that, and after a few takes, he figured out some evasive maneuvers and got out of it. Like he would fall to the floor, but instead of like laying dead, he'd go like this with his arms and legs up and start kicking. Which probably isn't going to be terribly usable footage, but he was saving himself. But in the final scene, he went down on the floor, and it had been a couple days since we had dogpiled him, and he forgot. But we didn't. And we also had Ruth in the scene that day. So, and it's funny because, you know, it was 600. That was impeccable timing. Really well played. Did you sense that I was about to say your name? You just knew it. Do you get like a tingling sensation, or what is it?
I am actually a witch, so.
Oh, right, I forgot about that. So it was like 600 pounds of men on top of Alex, and then 35 pounds of Ruth on top of that. And it was the straw that broke his back. Like all of a sudden he was like, something popped.
Jensen said he could feel Alex's ribcage start to give way, so he started to press against Jared and you. Like he was the only one saving like Alex from dying.
It was so joyous. We were just talking about the sort of sexual undertones. She wanted to talk about it, not me. In the show.
I like the overtones rather than the undertones. What undertones? What undertones? During the end of the last season, there was a bit in the script where it says, "Our heroes eye fuck each other." Do you remember? And I was the only girl in the room, and there's Jared, Jensen, Misha, Rich, all eye fucking each other. And I'm like, what does a girl have to do to get sexually harassed in the workplace? They're all so polite to me, they didn't do it to me.
But do you remember what we were doing too? I forgot about that. We were doing this. Remember that? No, that footage exists too, where we... Anyway.
Wasn't their flash mob awesome?
That was fantastic. For shame. Thank you for that enlightening conversation. Hi.
Hi again.
Hi.
I'm sorry you can't get rid of me today.
Oh my God, you're everywhere.
My question is, what show or movie terrified you as a child?
Oh, that's so sweet. I have two answers for you. They're both fantastic. You're gonna love these answers. There's no way to take the comedy out of something that compares to saying something's gonna be great. It really ruins it. I had a dream when I was 5 that we had a dog who was basically like my age, and I kind of grew up with him. And he died when I was like in high school, so he was like my friend for my entire childhood. When I was 5, Bear, our dog, who was black, we used to throw sticks into the river, and he'd jump into the river, fetch the stick, and bring it back. And in my dream, I threw a stick into the river. Bear went in to get it, but came out of the water as a giant black Big Bird from Sesame Street. And I woke up the next day and went downstairs and was like, "Mom, Bear turned into Big Bird." And I wasn't quite, I didn't know that it was a dream. I thought it had happened, I had seen it. I now see that Bear had turned back into his dog self, but I did not trust the dog anymore. And I was scared of Bear for a couple of years because I thought at any point he was going to turn into some like giant Sesame Street character. And then I was telling kids in my class in 2nd grade, like, yeah, and at one point my dog turned into a giant black Big Bird. And as I was saying it, I was like, something's off about this story. And it suddenly dawned on me that I had dreamed this incident and that it hadn't actually happened. And that was like, again, I could be friends with my dog, but we had 2 dark years where I was really scared of the dog. That was sort of a Sesame Street trauma. But my first movie in a movie theater was with my dad. I was also 5, I believe, and he took me to see Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And that's why I turned out this way. I cannot watch scary things. Supernatural is actually too scary for me. I have nightmares if I watch multiple episodes of Supernatural back to back. And I try not to watch it right before bed. So I don't like scary things at all. My godson, I remember when he was 5 or 6, he was staying with me for a little bit, and he was watching Saw.
Yikes.
And he was like, will you come watch TV with me? And I was like, sure, buddy. Nope, I'm not gonna watch that. That scares the shit out of me. Thanks. Do you have scary things in your childhood?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Why did you bring this up?
Nowadays I'm not scared of anything
Really?
except tall people.
Tall people are scary. That's true. I've learned that firsthand. Let me ask you, how long have you been watching Supernatural? You're 14, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, when did you start?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay. So it didn't scar you in your early childhood.
Oh, no.
It's more adolescent scarring.
The first scary movie that I've ever watched was probably Coraline. Oh.
That is scary. It's scary. You know, so my kids, West in particular, Mason is actually kind of like, she's not as easily rattled, but West gets terrified of anything that's remotely scary. And we just try to go see, I keep trying, I'm like, well, maybe now you're old, you're 8, maybe now we can go see a movie. And we went to see, the only things that we can watch with him in a movie theater that doesn't scare him are foreign language documentaries. Not kidding. And so, like, we went and we watched The Eagle Hunter, or Eagle Hunters or something. And it's a documentary about Mongolian ritual of, this eagle festival. And it's really a strange thing to do, to go into a movie theater with a young child who can't read and watch a foreign language documentary and then have to tell him what's happening the whole time and have everybody around you move away, because it's like you're talking during the movie, which is the most annoying thing. But he seemed to like it, and it wasn't scary. We tried to see The Incredibles recently, and predictably it ended in just absolute miserable tears and like leaving the theater, and then him saying, I'm never going to see another movie, period. And I said, he likes Star Wars a lot, and he knows all about all the characters, but he's never seen Star Wars. And for a long time, he was planning to watch it when he was 11. He was like, when I'm 11, I'm gonna watch it. And after our Incredibles fiasco, he's like, I think I'm good. I don't think I'm ever gonna have to watch Star Wars. I know all the stories, because his friends tell him, but he can't handle it. It's really sweet. He's just like me. Hi.
Hi, Misha.
Thank you.
So,
Yes.
I have a question for you. So I was reading...
Oh, well, you have come to the right place.
Right? I'm right.
This is like the question depository.
So you wrote an article for the Baltimore Sun after you interned at the White House.
Yes.
And you talked a little bit about some of the shenanigans that people would pull to run into Bill Clinton.
Yes.
So what was the craziest thing either you did or you saw somebody do to try and shake hands or say hi to Bill Clinton? Don't worry.
So when I interned at the White House, and then the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke shortly after my tenure there, and it really kind of sullied. When I interned at the White House, it was like that was a cool thing to do. It was like, oh, that's a big deal. And then immediately after, I was like, ooh, what'd you do there? Where's your blue dress, Misha? But it was such a big scandal. And so I wrote this sort of op-ed piece, and basically there were a lot of people at that time that were saying, like, Monica Lewinsky, like, what a slut, I can't believe that she would, go into the Oval Office and, give the president a BJ, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm just kidding. But the point of the op-ed was basically to say that every single person that's on or around the White House is there just because they're like so enamored of the power and celebrity of the president, and they do anything to be in his presence. That's how the whole machine operates. That was the point of my op-ed. I sent it in to the Baltimore Sun and to the New York Times, and the Baltimore Sun called, and they're like, we'd like to run your thing. And then 5 minutes later, the phone rang, and it was the New York Times, and they're like, we'd like to run your thing. And I was like, oh, sweet, that's awesome. You and the Baltimore Sun. They're like, oh, Baltimore Sun's running it, never mind. I was like, I could have been somebody. No, but people would literally like hide behind the drapes if they thought he was coming, and then be like, oh, hey, hi, Bill. It was so weird. It was just like being at a supernatural convention.
I knew that was coming.
That wasn't a drape I was hiding behind.
No.
There was a hole, I was there, I knew you were coming.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see you.
Every time I go into the men's room at a convention, Rob does this thing. I'll open the stall door, and Rob is standing on the toilet so you can't see his feet when you approach. It gets me every time.
It's a fun bit. And then I don't move and make you go to the bathroom.
I have to go under your leg. Like, that's fine, just don't splash.
Did you vomit confetti? What happened here?
That reminds me of last convention. Speaking of vomiting confetti, when sometimes I get distracted at conventions and I can fall a little bit behind. It's happened before?
No.
Not usually. It happens occasionally, but it happened a little bit when we were in Indianapolis, and Richard and I were talking about something political, and Victoria was trying to get me to go to photo ops. She was like, we have to go to photo ops, and then we both went to the bathroom together, and she's like, come on! Why didn't you go to the bathroom on your half-hour break just now? And we went in, and then we came out, and then Victoria said, Rich, you need to stop talking to him right now. I need to get him into photos. And why did you go in there together just now? And he said, Misha's headlining this show. He's not going to hold his own penis. It was good. I mean, yeah, it was comedy gold.
Yeah, it really was. That was one of Rich's better.
It was his only funny thing that he said this year.
Well, this year, but there have been a couple things last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how was it?
I thought it was great. These guys had a terrible time, but I enjoyed myself, so that's what's important.
Well, I'm sorry, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.